Hey everybody, welcome back to our series on the kings of Israel. Yesterday we talked about the Assyrian captivity. That was a traumatic event when the Assyrian Empire destroyed the northern kingdom and scattered all of its people to the wind. Now only the southern kingdom was left, and the southern kingdom was made up of only 2 of Israel's original 12 tribes. So Israel now is only a tiny remnant of what it once had been. But Assyria still wasn't finished. About 10 years after destroying the northern kingdom, they came back for the south. The army took over the entire countryside until only Jerusalem was left. Then they surrounded Jerusalem, blocked off any access to food or water, and sat back and waited for them to either surrender or starve. The king at this point was King Hezekiah. Hezekiah had actually been a pretty devout king before this. He had torn down a lot of the pagan idols and temples that were around Israel, including some that had been standing since King Solomon. Hezekiah was not a perfect king, but he knew that God had protected them in the past, and he refused to surrender to the pagan Assyrians. So the king of Assyria, Sennacherib, began to taunt Hezekiah for his faith in God. He said, "Do not let your God, on whom you rely, deceive you by saying that Jerusalem will not be handed over to the king of Assyria. You have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all other countries. They doomed them. Will you then be saved? Did the gods of the nations whom my fathers destroyed save them?" But instead of responding to Sennacherib's taunts, Hezekiah retreated to the temple, shut himself in, tore his clothing, and started to pray. "Incline your ear, O Lord, and listen. Open your eyes, O Lord, and see. Save us from the power of this man, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you alone, O Lord, are God." That same night, the prophet Isaiah, as in the guy who wrote the book of Isaiah, went to King Hezekiah and told him that God had heard his prayers and would answer them. When they woke up the next morning, they found that a plague had come and had killed 185,000 of the Assyrian soldiers. So the army withdrew, and they and the king Sennacherib went back to Assyria. And to add insult to injury, as soon as Sennacherib came home, his sons betrayed him and assassinated him. Some of the stories we've been telling this week have been pretty grim, but I hope the story of King Hezekiah is a reminder that God will always protect us, no matter how much we're surrounded by sin and by danger, as long as we turn to Him, pray to Him, and trust in Him.